I've taken a late evening stroll. This is one of my favorite things to do this time of year because I've got about 2 weeks to do this before the weather just gets a little too cold to be able to enjoy it as much, so I'm trying to soak it in while I can. I do a lot of thinking and a whole lot of songwriting by doing this as well. And there was something that's been kind of weighing heavy on my mind today. I'm probably going to wait a couple of days to post this just to make sure that I actually said everything that I want to say and that I get my point across the way that I want to, because it would be very easy for me to go overboard on something like this. But at the time that I'm recording this, it was just announced this morning that singer-songwriter Todd Snider passed away. And if you keep up with country and Americana music, then you probably are well aware of the struggles that he's had recently. And there's no need to go into it. If you haven't read about that, you can. It was well reported. And it was very sad to hear about that, and even more so to hear that he passed away this morning. As bad as that was by itself to just read that news, then I look at the comments. And sure enough, it's what happens so often when someone who's not a household name passes away. I read comments from people who feel the need to post, "Who? Never heard of him." One person even went as far as to say, "I've never heard of him. Oh well." I can't wrap my mind around that mindset. I just can't. I've never been able to. The thought that just because you haven't heard of someone, that makes them any less valid in what they did for a living, or makes them any less valid as a human being at the time of their passing because you didn't know who they were. Think about the lack of humanity that requires to make that kind of a statement. And think about how unnecessary it was to even say anything to begin with. If you didn't know who he was, if you weren't familiar with him or his music, it would be better to just not say anything. But to go out of your way to say something like that at the time of the man's passing, And as I said, this is not something new. I see it all the time in cases like this. This mindset that somebody has to be a household name, or that you have to be familiar with them and everything that they do in order for it to be valid at all, to be news to people. Here's what might be news to you. Todd Snider, though he was not a platinum-selling, stadium act, household name, he was beloved all around the world by everyone from fellow songwriters to people who were just fans of his music, who made that connection to his songs. Even his more humorous songs brought smiles to people's faces in a time when they really needed that the most. There's value to that, whether you realize it or not. Just because you haven't heard of him doesn't mean that there aren't a whole lot of people who are hurting at the news of his passing right now. I was thinking about how I wanted to end this video because, again, I didn't want to ramble about this, and I may have already, I don't know. But when I think about it, we're on this earth for a purpose. That purpose is different for every single one of us. We're given the chance every day to make an impact with whatever we do and however we do it. It's different for everybody. What's going to be the response when your time comes? Have you had that kind of an impact on people? Can we all just at least make an attempt to make the most out of this life and to try to make an impact however it is that we're meant to do that? And for one single moment, can we please all try to be just a little more human?
Todd Snider spent nearly
Rest
6
in peace,
decades
Todd
doing
Snider.
what few
Thanks
artists
for all the
ever
music.
truly master. Turning life's chaos, humor, heartbreak, and absurdity into music that felt like a conversation with an old friend. At 59, the beloved alt-country pioneer and Nashville storyteller left behind a legacy built not on perfection, but on raw honesty and the courage to tell the world exactly what he saw. On November 15, a post on Snider's official Instagram confirmed what fans had feared. The singer-songwriter had died. The announcement was brief, gentle, and devastating, the kind of quiet message that carries a heavy echo. Snider had long been considered the face of Nashville's alternative rock and alt-country scenes, a poet in a denim jacket, a wandering soul who knew how to turn everyday moments into unforgettable lyrics. His influential album, East Nashville Skyline, became a landmark for artists and dreamers who saw life from the edges, and he even founded Aimless, Inc., a record label built around his love for storytelling and artistic freedom. His music was more than melody. It was a map of life's crooked roads. In the days leading up to his death, Snider's health had taken a troubling turn. Although no official cause of death has been released, a statement from his family and friends revealed that he had been quietly suffering from walking pneumonia. After returning home to recover, he began having trouble breathing and was admitted to a hospital in Hendersonville, Tennessee. His condition grew more complicated, and he was transferred for further treatment, surrounded by loved ones who urged fans to keep him in their thoughts, through prayers, candles, rolled-up tributes, or simply holding him close in their hearts. Around this same time, Snider appeared in headlines after a police body cam video surfaced of an incident in Utah, where he was arrested for alleged disorderly conduct. He appeared distressed, in pain, and pleading for medication, later claiming he had been assaulted. Police said they found no evidence of an attack, and according to TMZ, the incident occurred shortly after he was released from the hospital. It was another reminder of the struggles Snider faced throughout his life, including battles with substance abuse. When Aimless, Inc. announced his passing, their words read like a love letter to the man who had given the world so many stories. "Our folk hero, our poet of the world, our storyteller," they wrote, mourning the loss of someone who always knew how to distill life into song. They called him a force of nature, someone who could find humor in the madness of living on this planet. They spoke of his daily writing rituals, his relentless study of the greats, Guy Clark, John Prine, Kreese Christopherson, Jerry Jeff Walker, artists who welcomed him, mentored him, and shaped the songwriter he became. Snider woke up every morning to write, forever chasing the brilliance of the legends on his shelves, and somehow becoming one himself along the way. But their message also carried a question that fans everywhere are now asking. How do you move forward without the one who spent his life turning gloom into laughter, sorrow into stories, and confusion into clarity? Their answer was simple. You carry his songs with you. You play them not in mourning, but in celebration. They urged fans to honor him by putting on their favorite Todd Snider record and playing it loud enough to wake the neighbors, or at the very least, loud enough to wake something inside themselves. That was the way Todd would have wanted it. Music as a spark, a jolt, a reminder that life is still happening around us. In the end, Todd Snider leaves behind a world of people who saw themselves in his lyrics. His music made the chaotic feel survivable and the ordinary feel poetic. He was a comedian wrapped in melancholy, a philosopher disguised as a drifter, and a storyteller who always had 18 minutes to spare for anyone who needed a tale. His road may end here, but his stories will keep traveling, living in the laughter he sparked, the comfort he gave, and the songs that still echo wherever people gather to remember him. Sail on, old friend.